Kia ora koutou, welcome to your Friday Live. I thought I'd jump on and do a quick live before we run out of time in the day. I appreciate most of you, like me, are waiting for Jacinda's update today. So I thought I'd do a quick update of my own before that, and wanted to talk about leadership for women today because it's topical and it's probably the question that I get asked the most from the clients that I work with. And these range from women that are promoted into leadership roles and worry that they're not quite ready yet, or women that want to be ready yet so that when those promotions come, they can step into them with confidence. And confidence is the thing we struggle most with. Here's why. We have a difficult job as women. It is, we talk about women in leadership. Yes, one day maybe we'll get to a point where we just talk about leadership, but it is still different for women. We are judged differently. We tread this very fine line where authenticity is concerned because we're encouraged to be authentic, develop our own leadership brand. But then equally, when we embrace kindness, vulnerability, we worry we will be seen as weak, or the opposite of that, when we embrace assertiveness, we're worried that we'll be seen as aggressive or labelled a bully. There's a very fine line that we tread, all whilst being told, hey, just be your authentic self. So that's what I want to talk about today. There is some research that's been done by the Rockefeller Foundation that actually points to this in statistics. So when you have a company who is in crisis, the media will blame the CEO for that crisis 80% of the time when they're female, 30% of the time when they're male. So you personally get the blame if you're a female more often in the media than down to external circumstances like COVID-19, the GFC, all of that stuff. So it is different for us. We are judged differently, and this impacts on the way we show up and our confidence. When we talk about being assertive, the amount of women who I'm coaching and who talk to me will say, maybe I just need to be a bit more assertive. And of course, what we mean when we say assertive isn't that I want to learn how to be aggressive and shout and bang my fists on the table and command that people do as I say. What we mean is I want to feel more confident. And you'll know when you've worked with people that are quietly confident, they can be firm but fair. They can be assertive, and it doesn't mean shouting or aggression. It just means they're confident in who they are and how they show up. And that's one of the main things that I teach in my Women in Leadership programs. We look at what is your brand as a leader and how do you develop that? How do you lead yourself? So build resilience and know who you are and align to your values and know your strengths. But also much further than that, how do you then lead others to deliver results? So how do we inspire and motivate others? They're all things we unpick on this day-long program. And it's actually coming up, COVID pending of course, in Wellington on the 2nd of October. So if that's something you're interested in, then get in this month. Quite often your business can fund this, and I do have a business case if you want to have a look at that to try and convince those that hold the purse strings to send you on this course. And there is an early bird rate, so there is $300 off that program until the end of this month. And if you're not sure and you're just keen to find out more, then by all means get in touch, ask me some questions. Or I've also got a free webinar coming up next week. So on Wednesday lunchtime, I've got over 250 people already registered for that. If you want to be on that, then I'll pop the link in this live. It is a free webinar. It's lunchtime on Wednesday. And in that, we'll be covering some of these tips in a little more detail and a bit more about what the program is. So I kind of feel like it's a unique thing for women that we are in this position where we tend to want to make sure we're ready and that we tick all of the boxes before we apply or before we get the promotion. And we also tend to want to hit the ground running and make sure we do everything perfectly. And that's why it's so hard when we get promoted into a leadership role. We feel, we have to learn, we have to grow, we have to develop, we have to give ourselves time. And that's what we really struggle with. And often can be when that voice comes into our head. Can you really do this? Are you ready for this? And on the subject of Jacinda Ardern, I know that she said if she'd waited until she was ready to be Prime Minister, that would never have happened. But the opportunity arose, she jumped in and she made it work. And isn't she making it work? And when we talk about things like kindness and empathy in leaders, we're seeing this role model from a woman's perspective. And I think there's a lot that we can learn from that, because I'm sure you've noticed how she deals with the press, how she deals with her opposition. You can be kind, you can be empathetic, you can also be firm and fair. And that assertiveness doesn't come in the form of aggression, it comes in the form of confidence. And that's something so important for women around the leadership table, but also in our career, in our life, full stop. And it's something I talk a lot about with the imposter syndrome stuff. So all of that features in our Women in Leadership program. I'd be delighted for you to join us. If you want to find out more, please hit me up, ask me some questions, or jump on the free webinar next week on Wednesday lunchtime. The link is in the comments. So is the link to the program. So there's only 10 places on this program. So if you want to be the first to get in and secure your place with the early bird discount, then the link is also in the comments for that. And I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. Fingers crossed, lockdown permitting, and we'll see what next week brings. These are uncertain times, so it's so critical that we lead ourselves, but also help lead our teams and those that rely on us through this as well. So a massive part of dealing with change and uncertainty is how we show up and how we lead. And that's something that I'm passionate about sharing. And this stems right back on my career before I wrote books was in human resources. So I've worked with a lot of leaders across a lot of countries. I've sat around leadership tables, and my passion specifically to work with women in this space is because of what I've seen. So I've lost track of, and it doesn't matter what country I'm in, whether it's been the UK, Australia, and New Zealand, what industry, whether it's tech, data, manufacturing, these reoccurring themes have been across industries, across countries. When I sit around leadership tables, I notice quite often that women are in the minority. They are normally the lowest paid around those tables, and they're always the last to put their hat in the ring for a promotion, even when they're the highest performers and the most qualified. And that's what sparked my passion, because it mirrors so much of what I've experienced in my own leadership journey, to put this right, to help women, to teach women the stuff that I've learned throughout my HR career and 15 years in senior leadership roles, but also what I do in my coaching business and helping women with confidence, building resilience, leading ourselves, but also inspiring and motivating others to deliver results. So that's the topic today. I hope there's some useful things in there for some food for thought for you as you go into your weekend. If you want to find out more about the program or jump on the free webinar next week, please feel free to look in the comments, do that, and I will look forward to catching up with you next week. Otherwise, somebody needs a walk, and then we get to listen to the update before heading into our weekend. Whatever you're doing this weekend, enjoy it, stay safe, Matiawa.